Hello guys, my name is Vikram and welcome to Azure NetApp Files. So today we will discuss that how can we utilize the storage from the Azure and with the help of using a NetApp Files to make a share path to store the user profiles from the FSlogix technology, right? So basically generally what happens, we we basically we make a file share server, then we create a share path on that, and then we provide that path into the into the VMs or into the session host machines, and then the profile used to get stored in that shared location. And that storing up profile is very important, as you understand the the importance of roaming profile. So whenever a user logging to logging to one session host and he makes some changes, and after that then you log off from the session host, and if you log into another session host on the next day, then whatever the changes he has done on the first session host, that's supposed to be reflect on the second one as well. And this is only possible when you have your when your file is stored somewhere centralized, somewhere centrally. For example, you have file storage, and you have create a share path, and on that share path that file got stored, right? So this is what we'll perform in this basically in the practical. And main is how we will gonna utilize the storage from the Azure using a NetApp technology and making a share path on that, and that share path will be utilized for the profiles. Okay, so before moving to that, let's see the definition for the NetApp, and then we will move forward and what things are required to create a share path on the NetApp. Okay, so let's go here, and let me just go from the beginning. Okay, so we have very simple definition for the Azure NetApp files. So the what it says that Azure NetApp File Service is an enterprise class, high performance, metered file storage service. Azure NetApp Files supports any workload type and is highly available by the default. You can select the services and the performance levels, create NetApp accounts, capacity pools, volumes, manage data protection. So everything you can done while you want to use the Azure NetApp Files, right? And then sorry, my mouse is not working. Okay, right. Then we have a hierarchy of your storage. So in the storage hierarchy, we have in a subscription, we can how you will utilize it, how you create basically how we will use the NetApp to to make like you know a share path, right? So for that, we require Azure subscription. First of all, you should have one Azure subscription. It's either it's a free subscription or it's a paid subscription. In the production environment, of course, that would be the paid subscription. And if you're doing as a lab or you're doing as a demo, then you can also try with the free subscription as well. So you need a Azure subscription. In the Azure subscription, you can create a Azure NetApp account. In the NetApp account, you need to create one host pool, and then you need to create your volumes. So capacity pool is basically a storage, the space that you buy that you take from the storage, and then you break it into the small drives. That's called volume, right? And your capacity pool, your storage, your account, your storage account is supposed to be communicate with the domain controller, right? So if you talk about traditional way, when you have a share, when you have any file share, so file share object is always available in the AD, and then you create then you create a share path on that. So same here, we will gonna have a account that's your share account, or your you can say your storage account, and that's supposed to be a part of domain controller. So that can be authenticated from the domain controller itself only, right? So for authenticating that, we also need to create one AD connections, right? Which is very much important. Unless and until you don't have a connection from the AD, then it won't be authenticate your your storage, and that's supposed to be authenticated from the on-prem AD, which is very important, right? So if you see that for the one important point for Active Directory connection, now Azure NetApp File supports only one Active Directory connection within the same region and the same subscription. Guys, this is very important, right? You cannot if you have Active Directory already configured by another NetApp account, in the same subscription in the same region, then you cannot configure and join the different Active Directory from the NetApp account. So one NetApp file support only, like one Active Directory connection can only support in the for one NetApp file support for same region and for the same subscription. Remember that, guys. Okay, this is very important. Another is this Azure NetApp files. The standard network features are supported for the following regions, right? So these are only the regions where these standard network features for Azure NetApp files are supported. Then this is the diagram that basically how the basic profile in the Azure NetApp share will gonna work. So basically, first of all, we need to create a NetApp share, right? The share path, and the share path will be will put into the session host machines. And the session when we when the user will log into the session host machines, then this profile will be stored at the Azure files or Azure NetApp share, right? So for example, now if you see that this is my for example, this is my Azure files, this is my NetApp share. User for example, now user is coming to just a second. So if my user is basically come from user publicly sitting at the outside or internet, then they try to connect to the WVD, like your any of the session host machine, right, to WVD, right? So first of all, let's go for the authentication from the Azure Active Directory, that user which is got sync from the on-prem AD to Azure Active Directory, right? And when the user is get connected, so it's first of all, let's go to your storage files. Storage files is basically your Azure NetApp files, and it's check that what is the what is the uh, folder by the name of the user, and that whatever there in the that folder, that download it to the session host machine folder. So basically, it create two folders. One is one it creates on the NetApp file uh, on the NetApp file share path, and one is locally on the session host machine. So whenever user login to the session host, so first it creates a folder on the share path and then locally on the session host machines. So whatever the data it has on the share path, that is get downloaded to the local profile on that machine, right? So whatever the data it has, it will be downloaded. And same once user logged off, the whatever the changes he made on that machine, and once user log off, then all the data will be synced back to your storage folder or or your file share path, right? And so next time when user comes and log into another session of server, so your data will be synced from the storage, whatever the data was synced before to the storage, so that will be also reflecting the same data will be reflecting to the another session host also. So this is what we have. So so what we'll be requiring while we're doing the demo. So before this, we will require Azure NetApp Files account. Then we require a capacity pool. Then we need AD connections and volumes. And then from the WVD end, we require install FSlogix in all the session host machines in the master or in the master image. If you don't want to install, if you have a master image, it's good. Otherwise, you have a very small environment, or if you're doing a demo, then you can just go to each and every session host. For example, you have two session hosts, three session hosts. You can go to the session host and install the FSlogix uh, container. You can install that, and or in case if you have a large environment, production environment, then you can go to the master image. You can install the master image, and with the help of the master image, you can update your host pool, or you can spin up the machines from that master image. So okay, and another is then whatever the share you made in the NetApp with the help of NetApp, that share path needs to be entered in in the registry of the session host pool. So where the user profile will be saved actually as centralized. Okay, so now let's move to the practical, and let's move to the demo class. So what we will do, first of all, let me open the portal. Now, before going to the portal, some of the certain things what we require is basically, so what we will do, I'll write my domain name. Domain name will be required while making the AD connections. Then I require your uh, we'll also require, while we're creating a domain name, we also require a site name that I'll show you that where to look into that. And so I require my domain controller. Domain controller, guys, you can deploy it, and in case if you want to, like, if you don't know how to deploy that, no problem. I'll be having another video. You can check on that, how to make a domain controller, and how to create a session host machines, how to create host pools in work on and the workspace, right? But here in this video, I've already created just to show you the NetApp share path and how this NetApp will be working, right? But however, if you want to, like, if you have some issues, like, how to create a domain controller, how to create a host pool, how to create a workspace session host machines, that I have a separate video, you can visit to that. That's especially for that only. Okay, so I will power on my domain controller and the session host machines. So I'll, sorry, it's a host machine, right? So just let me, I'll go to, this is my portal, and I'm going to the virtual machine. So these are basically my FDC1 is my domain controller, and WD SH0 and SH1 both are my session host machines. So let me just power on these machines. So let me just pause the video because it will take 2 or 3 minutes to up. So just give me one moment. Okay, guys. So machines are powered on now, and so I'll just remove three of the machines. So all three machines, and I'll show you. So this is basically my domain controller that I just taken the remote. And if I'll show you, right, this is my, basically this is my domain controller actually, and this is my domain. So I just make a note of it because this will be required while we're making connections. Okay, this is my domain, and I don't have any public domain, like, so I haven't purchased yet. So I just picked up the normally from the, like, same from the Azure Active Directory. So it's bit a big name, right? And here we have the domain name, and if you see that, like, these are all my users, my, like, my computers. Like in these computers I have two session host machines, right? And like, I need one more information for that. That is, what is my site name. So I can go for site and services. So let's just go to the server manager. Let me open server manager tools, and if I'll go to the sites and the services. So if you see that sites, Azure is my site, right? So you can also create that if you want. You can just rename that your default site. My site is Azure, right? So I can keep the name Azure is my site name. Azure is my domain controller. This is my domain name. Okay, and the IP address also I would requiring. So IP address, we can check that. IP address for this, and that's supposed to be the private IP, not the public IP. So my private IP is 10.0.0.4. So I can make it like, I can paste it all in the note, and that is 10.0.0.4. So this is my domain controller. Okay, now guys, let's again jump to the portal and let's create the NetApp. So as per our slides, as per our PPT slide, so what we require, we have to create the Azure NetApp file account, then capacity full, then AD connection, and the volumes. All these four steps done, your Azure, your NetApp is done. Okay, very simple. Okay, so let's close all this and let's go to the portal. So in the portal, go home and search for the Azure NetApp files. You can search for that. It's already coming because I already done that before. So anyway, let me do it again. Azure NetApp files. So it will show here. And first of all, we need to create an account, right? So click on create and give the name. I'll keep like A and F Azure NetApp files. I put this is my name. Then this is my subscription and resource group. If I have not created, I already have that one resource group, and you can, because you can use the same resource group where you create your domain controller, okay, and your session host. You can use the same resource group, or you can create a new resource group, no problem at all. So this is the resource group and I just need to create it. So it won't take much time. It used to get created within like in 1 or 2 minutes time. So let me pause the video for a few moments. Okay, so this is created and my ANF account is created. Now let me go to the resources. Now in the resources, I need to go to the capacity pool. Here the capacity pool. In the capacity pool, I need to add a pool. It's basically a storage that I'm taking from the Azure, right? This is just a storage. So add the storage. You can give like ANF. Guys, naming convention you can keep it with your own convenience. So I'm just keeping just too easy to remember. ANF Azure NetApp File, then pool and 0. I can make it premium. I can I can make it instead of premium. I can make it standard because this is very expensive. Just reduce the cost because and anyhow this is just for the demo, so I can use my standard. But as per your if you in the production environment, you can go for the premium, and ultra is very much expensive, right? And the minimum size we require is 4 TB is the minimum required, is the minimum size that you need to take for your pool. And then from the pool, then you can break it into your volumes. So I have let's create that. It won't take much time. Okay, so this pool is created, guys. ANF pool hyphen O, it's created, right? Or 0, whatever you want to keep it, right? So this pool is created. Now, guys, before creating a volume, I need to create a AD connection. So why I require AD connection? Because my storage account supposed to get authenticated from the domain controller. This is very much important, right? If also if it's not a case of Azure file system, right? And if it's a if you have a file share, for example on-prem, right? So that machine account or that web server account or that file server account is also available in the domain controller, which used to get authenticated from there. So same here, our storage account supposed to get authenticated from the domain controller. So we will create a connection so this account can be communicated from the domain. So what we require, we need to create on Active Directory connections. Okay, just be careful while you filling up the information in the Azure Active Directory connections because this is very much important. Then join that, and if this is not successful, then you won't be able to create the share path. So primary DNS, so that is my DNS is my IP address of my domain controller, right? So this is what I put all the information here in the notepad. So my domain controller IP address is this one. If you have a secondary DNS, yes, of course, in production always have two DNS, not single. So, but right now I have only one, so I kept only one. Then I have a ADDNS domain. Now my domain name is basically FQDN. That's supposed to come on the FQDN, guys. Any point if you don't able to understand that what exactly the meaning is, you can just click on this small circle, and you can just come to know that what exactly they're asking for. So this is asking for a qualified Active Directory DNS name, right? So this is the name of my domain. This one. Keep this one. AD site name I also copied. That was this is my site name. Azure is my site name. SMS share name, you can give the name ANF hyphen share, or ANF, just you can make it share. ANF share. Organization path, if you know the path, if you have created any path for your machines, you can give the OU name, validate the name. Otherwise, you can leave it. If you don't give the path, then it will be create your share account in the by default in the computer OU only. Or if you create any OU, then you need to provide the distinguished name of that OU path, and then it will be create there only, right? So right now I'm not picking up that because I'm just creating a simple and keep this setting simple. Then you need to provide your user ID and the password. That user ID and password supposed to be your AD domain like it should be supposed to be a domain admin. That always be good. Like you have your domain admins, or you can just create an account and they're supposed to have admin access, or always better to go for the domain admin account. Then I give my name. Okay, so now I'll just revalidate the information that I've entered. My DNS name is 10.0.0.4. This is the correct. Azure is the name. I haven't given this, and I need to give ID share name. I only needs to provide if I want. For example, if AD connections can only be provided for one AD connection can only be created in your single subscription and the single region, right? But still, if you want to share your AD connections with multiple AD connections, then you can use your AD share name. Okay, so this is I need to join that. So it will take some time, guys. So I just till to that time where successfully is joined actually joined. Okay, so this is joined now, and now I need to create a last is we need to create a volumes. Okay, so now how would I create the volumes? Go to the capacity pool, click on the capacity pool, and here you need to click on your capacity pool, that is ANF pool 0 in that one, and inside that there is a volume folder, sorry, volume blade. Click on the volume, then excuse me guys, and then click on add. Now you need to first of all you need to provide the name of your volume, right? So I can provide like ANF, sorry, NF volume, right? And this is basically I have rest of the things you can just see that the what should be the minimum size. Remember that guys, for one volume it's supposed to be 100 GB is the minimum. However, you can increase the size as per your convenience, because you will be creating so many, you can create many volumes. Okay, so you can create you can 100 GB is the minimum, so you can create for 200, 300, depends on you, right? And this is the throughput is basically that is from the auto, that's 65.4 is the throughput for this, and in bytes. And virtual network we have where the VNet, basically in this is reside in the VNet where my machines are created, my domain controllers, my session host machines are created. Same VNet we need to keep it, but for the subnet you can create a dedicated subnet for your NetApp Azure file system. Okay, so I already created that. If not, you can just go ahead and you can create it. Okay, this is the best part. Now let's create next. In the next, you need to select SMB. Once you select the SMB, so it shows my domain controller and my domain name and the username, which is getting authenticated, which is authenticating basics from the Active Directory, the share name. So my share name will come automatically because you already provided the name ANF volume. Let's click next. Okay, review and create. Once final validation is done, then we can create that. And before creating, you can just read out all the information and then you can do that. So let's create it. Guys, so it will take like 2 to 3 minutes. So till the time I'll pause the video. Okay, so this is created now, and let's go to the resources. Okay, so let's get connected. Okay, so guys, if you see that this is my mount path, right? This is my my account name, and this is my share path name that I have, and NF this is my volume, right? So if I copy this one, and in my domain controller or any of my session host machine, if I open that, that's supposed to get opened. Okay, so for example, if I copy it here and paste it, this one ANF share path, and if I open it, See, it's opening fine. There is no issue with that, right? So now I need my profile supposed to become on the shared path. This is my centralized path. So all my files, all my users folder will be created here. And then these whatever they do on the machines, whenever they log into the session host machines in the WVD, and whatever the changes they will perform, everything will be saved here on their folders. Okay. So let's do one thing. So now we need to move to the WVD. So this part is done. Now the WVD part starts. So in that, I've already logged into session host machines. I have two session hosts. One is 5 and one is 6, which I'll let me show you on the portal. So basically, when I have two session host machines, when I have this one 0 and 01, or I can also show you from the AVD. If you go here, if you go to host pool, host and the session host machines, we have two session hosts, one and two, right? So one is basically I put on that, it was for testing anyway. Let me remove that. So all these servers are working fine. So what I'll do is, let me just log into one of the server and install the FSlogix profile. So let me just saved somewhere. I've already downloaded the FSlogix profile, but guys, you can also download that from the you can download it from any of the website or any of the and go to the internet and just type FSlogix container and you can easily download that. Otherwise, uh, I'll put the link in the end of the video. Okay, so if you go to the temp, I have FSlogix. This is I have downloaded. Go here, open x64 release, and this is the one last on the FSlogix app setup. Click on that and right click on that and run with the administrator, or you can just double click on that, no issues. So this will install FSlogix in the machine. It won't take much time. Okay, so this is required restart of the computer. No problem, we can just restart it because it requires actually a restart. And however, on the server 5, we have two machines, 05 and 06. So 06 in the reboot. However, on 5, I've already installed that. I only need to configure. Now I need to configure the registry for this. So let me reopen the registry edit. You need to go to HK key local machine, expand that, go to software, then go to FSlogix. Supposed to be like this, and then go to profiles. In the profiles, you need to create one key for your enable or disable. So let me just go ahead and create a keyword value, that is enabled. Okay, and another key you need to create one multi-string. That is your VH locations. So in this location now we need to enter that path. Okay, so this is the path where the files supposed to be get created. Here's the error, but just ignore that, no issues, right? So this is what created, right? Same thing we need to perform the task on another server. So let me just close this one and let me log off this server. Okay, now let me just RDP that another server 6. So this is the login preparing the Windows, and so I need to open the registry directly because I've just installed the FSlogix. So after that we need to go to the registry, Jared, go to local machine, then go to software, go to FSlogix. Here you have, then go to profile. Guys, if you don't see the profile folder, you can create that, no issues. So again, like we need to create two key. One key is dword value enabled. Enabled, I think I forgot in the first one. I need to keep it one, guys, remember that. Okay, and then I need to create my multi-string. Okay, guys, remember that this enabled value should be one, but I'm not sure that I keep the same value in server 5 or not. So I'll just log in and check that. I'll validate that. So enabled, see it's a 0, I will make it 1. Is very important, guys. Okay, now my these task has been completed. Now I need to test it. Okay, so I have a users in my AD which basically sync from a domain controller. So actually these users were created on my on-premise domain controller. After that we sync those to Azure AD, Azure Active Directory. Okay, so by using a AD Connect tool. Right. So for that also I have a in the another video I have all this information that how create the domain controller and then how we need to sync the users to the Azure AD, and that I'll show you in the that will be available in my another video. Okay. So this is just for the NetApp. This video is okay now. So basically what I require is, so everything is fine. I will just check all these things. I'll show you my users basically. So Active Directory users. Create this. So I have FFKK. These are the users. So I've not created many users. So I'll try with the users KK. Right. So let me just click on here and the URL RD web client. You see that desktop client. So I'll put that KK at the rate and my domain name. This is my user ID, guys. And I published just a desktop to those users. Okay, it's not showing for this user. Okay, just let me pause this video. Let me see the access is there or not. So just give me 1 second. Okay, sorry, I was using a wrong basically URL, and so this is basically URL. So if I open this URL, so here's the desktop which is published to the user. Is KK is the user, and let me launch this. Now see guys, if so is that, please wait for the FSlogix app services. Now it's coming to the FSlogix. It's downloaded. Okay, now this is login. User has been logged in. Now I need to go to that path and need to check that folder is created there or not, right? So I go there and I'll check that path. So if you see that under this ANF path, this folder is created, right? KK is a user. So it's a dot underscore KK, right? But what I require, guys, I want that the whole name, SID name should not become, the name KK should become, right? For that also I can do something. So what I can do, I just go to the servers again and let's go to 5. So if I open the registry, so in the registry, just edit this, or you can just modify this. And here at the last, what you can just put backslash percentage username and percentage. That's it. This is what you need to perform. So this will come like this. Okay. Same thing, we need to make it on the different server. You can log this off. Guys, if you're using a master image, then you don't require to perform each and every session host. But I'm not using master image. I'm just using the normal session, only single session hosts. So I need to perform on all the session host servers. Percentage username. Okay, just make sure that your spelling should be correct. Just a username, okay? Okay, I'll log off this one. So when I go to this part, let me just delete this once again. Let me just delete it. Okay, I haven't logged off that, so just a second. So I just need to log off first. User need to log off first before you making any changes to the profile. Let's log off that. Okay. Now I need to delete this profile from the share path. It's deleted. Now I need to launch it again. So now the folder name is supposed to become by the name of the user, not by the SID number. Okay, so let's try this. Okay, now this is loaded and let me just go there and just check. See, now the folder has come as KK, not with asset. Now asset will be inside it. Here, here is your profiles. Okay, so this is one thing is done. Now what I need is basically, let's, the last thing that we can do, we can test it that my profile is getting roamed or not. The folder I'm creating on session host 1 or 2, it's supposed to be roamed to another server as well, right? So let's see. First of all, let's go to the user session. So user session right now, let's create one folder on the desktop. Uh, Task lab. Okay, I create one folder. Inside that, I also create one more subtest. Okay, I get these two folders, right? And let me check that where the session is basically connecting. So let's go to the portal and let's go to AVD, session host, host pool, and session host. So we have a session host on 0. 0 is basically 5. 10.0.0.5 is the IP address for this. So that means, so what I require is I go to this one and I put this into the drain mode, right? So if I put this into the drain mode, now the session will not gonna go to this server. Now session will hit to the next server. Now session will come to 0, this one. This is 6, right? And I log off from this and I log off when I log into this server and user connected to this server, then my folder is supposed to be available, right? So what I require is, let me just log off this user. Sorry, I'll log off the user. So just check in the portal. This is basically, let me refresh it. Now the user is log off and user should be hit to the another server because I put this into the drain mode. Into the drain mode, selected the, okay, so I will check this. This is supposed to be not in the drain mode. Otherwise, I will not going to go to any server. Okay, this is not in the drain mode. Only server one is in the drain mode. Okay, so let's go and launch the application again. So the folder has come, right? Now we need to check the server supposed to be on the second one. So let's go there and just refresh it. Now here we have the server on the second server, and the folder that I created on the server, that is also came on this server as well. So that means our testing is successful, right? So this is has been completed, and let me just put this into the notepad. Okay, this is basically, you can, this is the URLs and you can keep all this information in the notepad, and with the help of this notepad you can easily put all the information into it. Okay, so this is basically end of the, like, end of the chapter. And so basically this is how we do the testing for the NF. And just to do a recap, so what we have done, in this one, we create a NetApp Azure file account. That's Azure NetApp File account we created. Then we create a capacity pool. Then we create the AD connections. And then we create the volumes. And then in the WVD machines, we install the FSlogix in all the session hosts, or in case if you have a master image, so only you require to install in the master image. Second, then we add the NetApp share path in the registry. So this is what we have performed in the configuring the Azure NetApp files for your storage, or for your profile content, or for your user profile management. This is basically, especially this is used for this user profile management in WVD. right? So we have utilized the storage from the Azure for the WVD profile management for the user profile management. Okay, right, guys. So thank you very much for your time. And just in case if you think that this information, this video is informative for you guys, so you can just like, share, or if you like it, you can just click like or share it. Thank you very much.